Greetings, class of 2021. Let us pray. O Holy One, we gather on this beautiful morning with hearts full of joy in the accomplishments that we honor today. The journey to this moment has not always brought such beautiful weather. In fact, these accomplishments are hard-won, and we give thanks for the steadying presence of friendships, family, faculty, staff, and countless other companions along the way who have invested in these precious lives, supported them, wept with them, and cheered with them. We cherish the loved ones who are not here with us today. We feel their presence too. In these moments ahead, stir among us a hope, a trust, and even an excitement in a future where a new chapter commences for these graduates who have so changed our lives and community for the better, as they now go forward to change the world in that same way, this world we share. Amen. Please be seated.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Ellis Arnold, Hendrix class of 1979 and president of Hendrix. And welcome to the 137th Hendrix College commencement. And believe me when I say we are absolutely thrilled that you're here. It's gratifying to see so many family members and friends as we celebrate our graduates. And on behalf of the college, thank you for the many ways you've helped to prepare them for success, and especially your support these last 4 years. Graduates, from the abrupt changes during the spring semester of your junior year to the fully remote fall semester of your senior year, you, the members of the class of 2021, have overcome more challenges and adversity than any class in recent history. You should be proud of yourselves and your classmates. The college could not be more proud of you and all that you have achieved. Your legacy on this campus and the many ways that you've helped to make Hendrix a stronger institution will continue to inspire us long after today. For that, you have our deepest admiration, appreciation, and respect. And we have the utmost confidence that you will continue to demonstrate those qualities we have come to admire as you leave Hendrix. No matter where you're bound, we hope that you will return to Hendrix often in the years ahead and that you will stay connected with your classmates and professors. We hope that you will always remember the experiences you had inside and outside the classroom. And as you do, we hope that your affection for your alma mater will continue to grow over the years. Thousands of Hendrix alumni all over the world are making a difference. While their lives and stories are very diverse and distinct, they share something very important in common with you. They spent formative years on this campus, a special community of scholars, a place that we hope has nurtured you, challenged you, and prepared you to go into the world and leave your mark. Your connection with those alumni and with this college will continue, and we hope that it grows in the years ahead. For your relationship with Hendrix does not end today, it just evolves. We look forward to being a part of your lives in the future, and we look forward to watching with you with great anticipation as you lead your lives and your careers unfold. Best wishes to you all. Thank you. At this time, I'm especially pleased to welcome the chair of the Hendrix College Board of Trustees, Joanne Biggs, from the class of 1980, to bring you greetings on behalf of the board. As a Hendrix student and classmate of mine, she was president of the Student Senate, and she's now a partner at the Vinson & Elkins law firm in Dallas, Texas. Joanne.
President Arnold, Provost Bonebright, faculty members, families, friends, and most importantly, members of the class of 2021. Welcome to today's event. As chair of the Hendrix Board of Trustees, I'm happy to be here with you today and happy to offer a few comments on their behalf. First, congratulations, graduates. Take a moment to be proud of what you've accomplished. And it is a tremendous accomplishment to graduate from Hendrix. Your families are proud of you. Your professors, mentors, coaches, the Hendrix staff, and certainly the Board of Trustees is proud of you. We know Hendrix isn't easy. We know you've worked hard. You were challenged, you were inspired, and maybe at some points you were discouraged or disappointed. But you learned from both your successes and your disappointments, and you made it here today as a result. Your college experience, unfortunately, happened in large part during one of the most difficult world events of our lifetimes. But under President Arnold's leadership, you and your classmates and the rest of this Hendrix community persevered, and you helped move Hendrix forward. So on behalf of the board, I want to say thank you. Thank you for all the ways, large and small, that you contributed to this special community. As you begin the next chapter in your life, whether you're off to graduate or professional school, or whether you're starting the first job in your new career, I hope that you will continue to learn and grow. And as you face new challenges and reach new opportunities, I hope that your memories and appreciation of Hendrix grows, as mine has over the years. So on behalf of the board, congratulations, thank you, good luck, and Godspeed.
Good morning. On behalf of the faculty of Hendrix College, it is my pleasure to welcome the members of the class of 2021 and to congratulate you on reaching this milestone. Today we celebrate what you have accomplished over the past 4 years and what you will do as Hendrix graduates to make the world a better place in the years to come. Your Hendrix friends will be your friends for life, and that includes the faculty. So stay in touch with them. You are the best reflection of their hard work. Their support doesn't end today, and they are always glad to hear about the next phase in your life and career. So wherever you may be, we hope that you keep the Hendrix community with you and come back often. However you define success, we hope you will continue to achieve it. And whatever brings you joy, we hope that you always find it. As the class of 2021 makes the transition from students to alumni today, we also recognize 4 Hendrix faculty members for the noteworthy transition from teaching to retirement. Dr. Norman Bohm, Professor of Music, retired at the end of this semester after 36 years of enriching the performing arts at Hendrix. An accomplished pianist and gifted composer, arranger, and accompanist, he has most recently taught music theory and composition, in addition to providing studio instruction for piano students. He has performed in Europe, South Africa, and throughout the United States as a solo and chamber musician, and occasionally conducted, including for world premieres of his own arrangements for chamber orchestra. He specializes in music from the late 19th and early 20th centuries, and his popular course on fugue music from the silent era to the present covered important composers, techniques, and aesthetic approaches involved in combining music and film. Dr. Peg Falls Corbett, the Virginia A. McCormick Pittman Distinguished Professor of Philosophy, arrived at Hendrix in 1987. In addition to teaching courses in her home department and serving as Distinguished Scholarships Coordinator, she was instrumental in the formation of the Miller Center for Vocation, Ethics, and Calling and the Hendrix Odyssey program. In recent years, she developed Medicine in Society, a unique Odyssey project that took health science and pre-medicine students into hospice settings as volunteers. These students worked their way through related reading assignments and met as a group to discuss end-of-life issues as they encountered them through literature and experience. Dr. John Sanders, Professor of Religious Studies, arrived at Hendrix in 2006 and retired in December 2020. His courses encourage students to engage with both the history and theology of Christianity, including contemporary religious thought. His research on how humans think about theology resulted in 2 books: Theology in the Flesh, How Embodiment and Culture Shape the Way We Think About Morality, Truth, and God, and last year's Embracing Prodigals, Overcoming Authoritative Religion by Embodying Jesus' Nurturing Grace, which he wrote to encourage people who disagree politically and theologically to discuss those differences in empathetic ways. Dr. Lawrence Schmidt, the Harold and Lacey Cabe Distinguished Professor of Philosophy, joined the Hendrix faculty in 1984. His 37 years as part of the Hendrix faculty have included courses in logic, existentialism, the philosophy of science, philosophies of India, and 19th century philosophy. He spent several years as organizer of the International Hermeneutic Conferences in Heidelberg, Germany, and he has published numerous articles on Hans-Georg Gadamer's philosophical hermeneutics, as well as translating several of Gadamer's essays. On campus, Dr. Schmidt was one of the faculty leaders for the common courses for new students called Western Intellectual Traditions and Journeys, both precursors of the current engaged citizen courses. We appreciate the many contributions these faculty members have made during their careers, and we will miss them when they are no longer with us on campus. We wish them well on their next adventure. Please join me in thanking them for their many years of service. At this time, it is my privilege to introduce today's speakers. They offer our graduates a bit of familiarity in a year when so very many academic and personal experiences have felt unfamiliar. Each one represents a different academic area, a different element of the whole of liberal arts education. And each is known for that Hendrix hallmark of forming personal connections with students, contributing to the individual nature of an education that benefits the whole person, and that sets Hendrix students on the path to leading lives of accomplishment, integrity, service, and joy. We will first hear from Dr. Gretchen Renshaw James, who currently serves as the Nancy and Craig Wood Odyssey Assistant Professor of Music. Gretchen has conducted some of today's graduates in the Hendrix Wind Ensemble and taught others in online and in-person settings. Her Odyssey professorship project seeks to invite more diverse voices into the world of classical music, particularly in the areas of wind band and brass instrument performance, and provides opportunities for students to serve in professional development and leadership roles. Next, we will hear from Dr. Laura McDonald, an assistant professor of biology and health sciences and a Hendrix alumna. Laura dedicates her time and energy not just to teaching in her chosen field, but also to enhancing equity in higher education and mentoring and guiding students in ways that create community and a sense of belonging, particularly in the STEM fields. Her work, alongside her colleague, Dr. Jennifer Deeroff, completed with funding from their jointly held Morris and Ann Henry Odyssey Professorship, resulted in the Increasing Retention and Inclusion in STEM program, or IRIS. IRIS has benefited numerous Hendrix students, including those who have grown from being mentored to serving as mentors in the program. Dr. Jennifer Penner completes our trio of commencement speakers. Like her colleagues who will address the graduates before her, Jennifer has made student engagement a priority in her work here at Hendrix. In her teaching on behavioral psychology, she provides opportunity for firsthand experience on campus and as far away as Costa Rica and Rwanda. And through her recent 3-year project with the Dr. Brad P. Belts and Reverend William B. Smith Odyssey Professorship, which she held jointly with Dr. Peter Guess, Hendrix developed a partnership with Gashora Girls Academy of Science and Technology in Rwanda to enhance engaged learning, establish a formal focus on well-being, create internships there for Hendrix students, and to provide a path for Gashora graduates to become part of the Hendrix student body. Please join me in welcoming these 3 outstanding faculty members to address the class of 2021.
No one here is the same person they were a year ago. Hi, my name is Gretchen Renshaw James, and I like to be direct. There's no denying how challenging these last 14 months have been. This pandemic has forced change upon all of us, and as we take more steps toward a return to normal, we have an opportunity to decide how to go forward. Do we return to exactly the way we were in January of 2020, or do we take this opportunity to make lasting change in our lives? Today, I argue for the latter, and I argue for it in the context of how we take care of ourselves. As you, the class of 2021, move into the next phase of your lives, take advantage of this moment and make changes that will last. We each have our own pandemic story, and I bet there are some similarities between them. Each one probably features some amount of struggle, some amount of resilience, and maybe even some silver linings. The silver linings of my own story are ones for which I am very grateful. In February of 2020, my father went to the ER for what doctors initially thought was a stroke. Turns out it was central nervous system lymphoma, which is a rare non-Hodgkin's lymphoma that was essentially brain cancer. Flash forward a couple of weeks, Hendrix goes remote, my dad's health worsens, My mom breaks her arm trying to help him out, and I suddenly find myself in my car, driving to my parents' house in Pennsylvania, and I was there until the situation stabilized in July. Silver lining number 1. The pandemic forced remote learning, which enabled me to do my job from 1,000 miles away. In July, we're approaching the beginning of a school year with so many unknowns, and my stress level is mounting. How does one do band online? How do you do a conducting class, also musically related, online? Meanwhile, my father is undergoing chemo treatment, and my anxiety about the COVID situation in general remains high. There's a lot going on. At some point, I realized I just couldn't handle it all. Perhaps it was all the tension headaches that gave me a sign, and after a lot of feet dragging on my part, I finally got help, and I started therapy in August. Silver lining number 2. The stress brought on by the pandemic and my father's health was so extreme, I was finally forced to pay attention to and take care of my own health. And from that point, this school year really has just been one long journey of health and well-being. Now, by no means do I want to paint the picture that I have this all figured out. If I'm lucky, I might be a third of the way towards being truly healthy, but I'm a third of the way closer than I was a year ago. So, why am I telling you all of this? Because graduates, I don't want you to follow my timeline. I don't want it to take you 11 years and a pandemic to finally decide to prioritize your health. Hendrix's motto is unto the whole person, and it is impossible to be a whole person if you don't have your health. You all know those physical activity classes that you had to take, right? That's part of it. That's part of being a whole person. That's why they're there. And it's not just about having your health, but it's about valuing it, prioritizing it, maybe even defending it. So we've reached the unsolicited advice part of the commencement speech. Here are 3 key things I've learned from the past year that might help you take care of yourself now as you begin the next chapter of your lives and as you decide what your life is going to look like going forward from here. Number 1, listen to your body. It will tell you when something is wrong if you pay attention to it. This is where mindfulness and meditation come from, this idea of building awareness, checking in with yourself. If you're getting headaches all the time like I was, it's probably a sign that something about your health is out of balance. Number 2, be more than just your career. Being a whole person means that you get to be more than just a chemist or a teacher or a marketing consultant or whatever job you end up having. Find and develop some things that bring balance to your work life. Things that you look forward to doing. This spring, I've rekindled my love of reading, and it's great because it's so easy to do just a little bit of it every day. And for something completely different, and to engage with my latent daredevil spirit, shall we say, I started mountain biking, and I'll be out there this afternoon, don't you worry. Number 3, seek help when you need it. Being in therapy over these last 10 months is the single most important thing I have ever done for my health. And I feel no shame in sharing that with an audience of hundreds of people, because life is hard. And sometimes things pile up in a way that you just cannot sort through them on your own. But there are experts out there who are trained to help you. For me, the toughest part was just getting started. That's it. Just 3 pieces of advice. Listen to your body, be more than your career, and seek help when you need it. In a nutshell, that's what I've been doing over this last year, and I'm a lot healthier for it. To close, while this is a time of transition and change, it's also a moment to pause and reflect. Allow yourself to celebrate and be happy for what you've accomplished. Not only have you successfully completed your education at Hendrix, but you did it under some of the most unusual circumstances. Remember online band? That was fun. So I hope you'll go forth today, proud of what you've achieved, excited for what's next, but with enough attention to your health so that you can lead long lives as whole people. Thank you, and congrats, y'all.
Congratulations to the class of 2021. You made it. I feel deeply privileged and grateful to serve as a speaker on this special day, a day that represents the final stage of your college journey. When you walk across the stage and degrees are officially conferred, you will join a community of individuals, including myself, who proudly call themselves alumni. As an alumna, I can speak to the unique relationship that exists between this place and its graduates. Because you see, Hendrix College is not simply a location on a map that represents a group of buildings in which you have attended classes, participated in cultural and social events, and lived. For me, Hendrix is a place where I received my education and now my livelihood. But it's a lot more than that. In October, Hendrix is the fragrance of dried pine needles dried by the sun as the number of warm days starts to wane. In April, as warmth returns, the whole campus smells of spring. You know what I'm talking about, mask or not. It's like all the plants have released an aroma that's raw in its sweetness and freshness. It's also the smell of Couch Hall, which I'm not sure we could ever replicate, even if we tried, because that's a scent that's built up over time. Beyond that, Hendrix College is also the people who live and work here, the cafeteria workers who have so fondly served you, the people you never expected to become friends with, because no one is ever the same person that they present themselves to be at orientation, and the people who were first your teachers and mentors, who are more like close friends, bound by shared experiences and struggle. Hendrix is also the people who taught you that you needed to grow, who gave you some hard truths about who you moved through the world and what needed to change in order to become a better version of yourself. It's undoubtedly your times of triumph and also your experiences of humility. Both are equally valid in our progression, and both are lenses for realizing your highest potential. Many of you have heard me speak as a scientist of the power of failure. Indeed, moments of failure and humility often present the greatest opportunity for our advancement. Remember this as you go through life. Our triumphs are rooted in moments of self-doubt, humility, and even failure. You may already be aware of the lessons you've learned while at Hendrix. If you're like me, though, the memories you've had at this place are difficult to describe, and it'll take you some time to process them. I'd encourage you to keep considering what this place means for you, because only with reflection, as Odyssey teaches us, can we truly lead lives of meaning and indeed lives of joy. Hendrix is not just its amalgam of sense, its lessons, or the people who teach, lead, and serve here, though. Hendrix College is primarily the individual students who choose to be here, year after year, leaving this place better than when they started. It's you. It's our students. Hendrix College is not the same place as when I began as a student in 2005. It's only been 12 years since I crossed this stage, but in that time, 4 new buildings have been built, 4 faculty who taught me how to live a life of meaning have become emeritus. We have learned and worked through a global pandemic that brought us online learning, and perhaps most importantly, the educational structure and its student population have changed drastically. And so it will be for you too. Dorms that you lived in as freshmen will be renovated, more individuals will retire or move on, and all the while, the way that education is delivered, policies are structured, and experiences that students have will change, in large part driven by those who came before them. Whether you know it or not, you've left this place different than when you started. Some of you have been vocal advocates for social justice. Some have developed remarkable research projects, garnered national awards, and started new clubs. But even if you're more like me, which means you didn't earn any particular academic accolades and you can't quite see whether your time here was impactful in any way, I want you to know that it was. It mattered because in spending time here, you shaped the way that we teach, altered how we consider our educational structure, and challenged us to aim higher, do better, and bring you different ways of looking at complex concepts. You challenged us to bring relevancy to your education, and your creativity, curiosity, and drive inspired us to be better too. We'll do our best to live up to those expectations going forward. As you are now about to become graduates of Hendrix College, I want to remind you that you will continue to shape the future of this school. While I'm not a historian like some of my esteemed colleagues, Commencement 2021 seems to be a historic moment. Hendrix alumni are familiar with challenge, hardship, and growth. In its 145-year history, the college has been through 2 world wars, a Great Depression, a historic tornado in which Hendrix students courageously rescued and cared for the residents of the Conway Human Development Center, 2 100-year floods, and 2 global pandemics. While I attended Hendrix during a period of relative calm, you have not. Your class has faced the completion of their college education during a pandemic. Opportunities were disrupted, goals delayed and reprioritized, and plans changed. You face indescribable challenge in confronting a world with global problems. And yet, in spite of all of this, my overwhelming emotion today is one of perpetual optimism and hope. Because of all of you. Over the last year, you've made distinct choices that brought you to where you are now. When you could have decided to delay your education, you chose to continue, whether in person or online. When you could have decided that the obstacles were too great to meet the requirements for the degree that you will soon receive, you found inner strength. And more importantly, you worked together collectively, no matter your differences, to ensure our community could stay safe this semester. Last December, many wondered where we might find ourselves this May, and whether we would be completing the semester with our community intact. When I was asked about my opinion as a scientist, my response was that we could trust our students to keep us safe. And I couldn't be prouder of all of you for ensuring that we get to celebrate this most important of days together, and also for making me not look like a fool. You are a tremendous group of individuals. You have faced hardship, but I have every confidence that you can do anything. You have the extraordinary opportunity to change your workplaces and communities for the better simply because of your lived experience. I challenge you to find the issues you care most about and bring your voice to the task of solving today's problems, because it's only when you bring your unique experience forward that innovation is going to occur. And remember, too, that the words that you speak into the world have power. So when you choose to speak, speak with empathy and compassion, even to those with whom you disagree. Because as you live in service, it is an act of love to confront and have discourse with those who are different from you. I want to touch on one final idea. Many of you will either immediately or eventually take your leave of Arkansas, and in doing, Hendrix College. I want you to consider my open invitation to return, bringing with you your expertise and heart for public service. As we come to the close of another year, I'm reminded of a quote shared by the global lead for diversity strategy and research at Google, Dr. Kemal Bob. He said, "The science that gets done is dictated by those who do it." While he was obviously speaking in the context of scientific discovery, his meaning isn't lost on me, which is that our environments are shaped by those who live in them. This beautiful state that we live in has so much potential, but it can only meet that potential when individuals like you return to help drive change, to bring about better standards of healthcare, education, and policies to best serve those who live here. So come back often. Continue to shape our community, Hendrix, Arkansas, the Southern United States, and the world. We welcome you, and we need you. Congratulations to each and every one of you on this very special day. I'm so excited to welcome you to your next phase of your relationship with Hendrix College. Thank you.
Good morning, graduates. Class of 2021, I'm so excited about the opportunity to spend this, your last day as a Hendrix student, with you. So today I'm going to challenge you to call upon your inner fish. That's right, I said fish. So I'm going to ask you a question that perhaps you've not thought about before, and that is how a fish cleans itself. So it doesn't have limbs, it doesn't have fingers, it also doesn't have a mirror. And the answer is that it uses the service of another fish. It's called the cleaner wrasse. It's a small but a mighty fish. This guy is not particularly exotic or sexy or beautiful. In fact, if you were to swim through the coral reef where it lives, you instead would be looking at sexier animals like sea turtles or pufferfish or sharks. Cleaner wrasse are tiny and they're small with little blue and white stripes. They're just a few centimeters long with a brain the size of a pinhead, but they have a very special job. That's to clean other fish. So they nibble on other fish skin and their teeth to remove dead skin, mucus, and parasites. They're like the washcloth and the comb and the dentist of the ocean. Wrasse do this at special locations on the reef. They're called cleaning stations. They're like giant spas for fish. Fish approach the wrasse in these very special ways, like with a special head bob to ask for a cleaning. And so the wrasse and the dozens of species and hundreds of fish that travel and wait in line to be cleaned, they have this very special way of communicating a need and a service. So the cleaning clearly benefits the clients. They're cleaner and healthier. But what I care about for today is how the cleaner fish benefits the community. The entire community is healthier because cleaners help stop the spread of disease and parasites. 2, they put their conflicts aside. So even predators like sharks, y'all, calmly wait with their gape wide open while the cleaner wrasse swims into their mouth and cleans their teeth. 3, the fish who are cleaned are smarter than the fish who are not cleaned. It turns out there are intelligence tests for fish. 4, communities with cleaners have lower levels of stress hormones compared to cleaners without. 5, communities with cleaners are twice or more as diverse as communities without. And so the outcome is this community of diverse animals who are at their best, their healthiest, their least stressed, their smartest, and their most peaceful selves, all because of a plain little fish who shows up every day and it does its job, which is a simple service. The week of March 9th, 2020 was the hardest week of my career. I know it was the hardest for many of you as well. For me, I had just lost a trusted friend and colleague and mentor and a source of unending service in my department. One of the best teachers I know, Dr. Tim Maxwell, had just passed away unexpectedly. We held a campus service to celebrate his life and career, and then the very next day, the college announced the transition to remote learning, and I said goodbye to all of my students. I spent every day wondering how I and you and we would make it at this small liberal arts college with a modest endowment and a tradition of excellent in-person teaching. I don't need to tell you what followed because we've all lived through it together, and it's become one of, if not the single greatest challenge of your recent years. But I'll tell you anyway, we survived it together, and we came out stronger because of it, and we found strengths we didn't know we have. Still, I get that things are uncertain, and you're wondering what's going to happen. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know that it takes a strong community of service and work. And here's how I know you're prepared. I've been watching you for a year and a half and taking careful notes. You're excellent caretakers. You cared for parents and grandparents and siblings, all the while being a full-time student and sometimes working even other jobs. You're effective communicators. You told me when you were struggling, and you told me what was going well and not going well to help me give you the best education I could. You're compassionate perspective takers and leaders. Even through your own struggles, you listened. You asked me how my family was when you knew I was struggling. You told me when your colleagues and friends were struggling when they couldn't speak for themselves. You're creative problem solvers and collaborators. You broke ground to find new ways to carry out class projects, to socialize, to identify and talk about inequity, and to fight for social justice. You're dedicated protectors. When we returned to campus, you wore masks, you cleaned surfaces, you followed silly directions about which stairwell to use. You're gracious and forgiving of me and your colleagues when we failed from frustration and exhaustion, like when a professor may have reached the end of her rope with Moodle and she lost it during an angry cursing tirade during class several times. I'm sorry. Finally, you are professionals. You showed up. You were remote or in person, but you showed up. Every day, you did the work, even when you thought you couldn't. The cleaner fish is also a professional. It shows up every day, it does the work, and the work is service, and it builds a community that's better for the cleaner fish and everyone else. Over the past 2 years, every single one of you has shown up. You've done the work for your education, and by being good caretakers and all the rest, you did the work of service even if you didn't know it. That work and that service, folks, is what led to an even stronger and healthier and more resilient Hendrix community. So resilient, in fact, that we've almost made it through a global pandemic, and we're doing well, we're stronger. You did it not by being the best, but by showing up and serving others and bringing out the best in everyone else, even when you felt like you were at your worst. In fact, all the things that Hendrix prides itself in and that employers want and that the world needs, empathy and compassion, a commitment to work, a focus on service, you've done these 100 times over. My point here is that you are the cleaner fish. You, through your service, built a community that's healthier, that prioritizes well-being, that takes pride and builds diversity, that's smarter with you than without you, a community that is stronger than the sum of its parts, and in these ways, you are more prepared than you can imagine. So my charge to you, now you can leave Hendrix, you can always come back, but leave Hendrix and serve and create and strengthen a new community. You don't have to be the biggest or the best or the most exotic or the most beautiful or the loudest or the smartest or the most competitive or sophisticated or the wealthiest or the strongest. You don't have to have the best grades or the best resume. You have to show up every day, you have to do the work, and you have to look out for each other, even when you don't know how. Like the cleaner fish, y'all, who manages to put aside its differences with a shark for a teeth cleaning. You have to work with people who are different. They look different, they vote differently than you do, they think and believe differently, and they love differently, and you have to find the thing that they need that you have, and you have to offer that thing with respect, and you have to listen and be receptive to the service that they have for you. In your lifetime, there has been no greater need for these things than right now at this very moment. You have and you are what the world wants and needs. So take this power of service, build a new community of diversity and cooperation. If a smart little fish on a giant coral reef can do it, you can too, because what you have and what we have that little cleaner wrasse doesn't have is love and kindness, empathy, forgiveness, and compassion. And that's this Hendrix community, that's your Hendrix family. Congratulations, class of 2021.
We will now proceed with the conferring of degrees. First, a word about photography. There will be professional photographers taking photographs today, photos of the ceremony, including graduates crossing the stage, and they will be available in an album on the Hendrix Flickr page within a few days. Another photographer will take a photo of each graduate after they leave the stage. These commemorative pictures will be available to the graduates at a later date. We encourage members of the audience to remain seated during the ceremony and to take advantage of the opportunity to take your own photographs after the ceremony is concluded. We also want to remind the graduates that you are welcome to remove your mask as you come up to the top of the stage so that those pictures can show your smiling face instead of a mask. Will the candidates for the Master of Arts in Accounting please rise? President Arnold, in consideration of the fact that the members of the Master of Arts in Accounting class of 2021, now before you, have completed all the requirements as prescribed by the college or will soon complete them, the faculty presents them to you and recommends that you confer upon each of them who has completed the requirements the degree of Master of Arts in Accounting.
Members of the Masters of Arts in Accounting class of 2021, upon the recommendation of the faculty and through the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Hendrix College, I hereby confer upon each of you who has completed the requirements the degree of Master of Arts in Accounting with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto.
Skylar Sulliver Adams, in absentia. Stefan Luis Bonilla. Tammy L. Cook, in absentia. Leighton Elise Gassaway. Amanda Lee Lee, in absentia. Chad Michael McGonigal. We need to get her a little ladder, I think. Gage Moreland Opal. John Evan Oren. Emily Catherine Stalkalper. Miles Diego Thompson. Please join me in congratulating these Masters of Arts in Accounting graduates. We will now proceed with the conferring of bachelor's degrees. Will the members of the baccalaureate class of 2021 please rise? President Arndl, in consideration of the fact that the members of the class of 2021 now before you have completed all the requirements as prescribed by the college or will soon complete them, the faculty presents them to you and recommends that you confer upon each of them who has completed the requirements the degree of Bachelor of Arts.
Members of the class of 2021, upon the recommendation of the faculty and through the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Hendrix College, I hereby confer upon each of you who has completed the requirements the degree of Bachelor of Arts with all the rights, privileges pertaining thereunto.
Would all bachelor degree candidates please sit except for the first row? Please note that we will be awarding degrees in 3 groups based on majors beginning with humanities and interdisciplinary majors, followed by natural sciences, and ending with social sciences. This is also how they are listed in your program. Morgan Ann Akers, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Maxim Andrew Applegate, graduating with distinction. Nili Ningzu Bay, in absentia. Gwen Taylor Boone, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Danielle Brady Boots, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude. Sarah E. Brady, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Zachary R. Brownlee. Lexley Nicole Burleson, graduating with distinction. Caitlin Meredith Butler. Brittany Lynn Campbell Nowlin, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Lauren Elizabeth Capes, in absentia. Danielle Nicole Carney, graduating with distinction. Dakota Graham Chase. Brittany Frances Chu, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Roth James Coates, graduating with distinction. Olivia Eddings, cum laude. Zelda Mars Engler-Young, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude. Ashlyn Nicole Fucello, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Bethany Grace Gorley, graduating with distinction. Haley Quinn Hayden, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Peyton Marie Hall, graduating with distinction. Will James Harris. Dylan James Hicks. Mary Ingebeer, graduating in absentia. Quinn Carver Johnson, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Rebecca Ann Jolly, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude. Kayla N. Kalahiki, cum laude. Henry Edward Kennedy, in absentia. Julia E. Kraus. Greta Sky Cressy, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Alexandra W. Lambert. Allison S. Long, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude. Bailey H. McClendon. Dalton Cole McVeigh, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Michaela Elizabeth Millard, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude. Kaylee Genevieve Miller, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude. Olivia Grace Moore, graduating with distinction. Rosemary Ochoa, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Reagan Emberly Price. Portia Risha Renee. Grace Elizabeth Rogers, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Jackson E. Sinclair. Lydia K. Sullinger, magna cum laude. Micah Danielle Treat. Arthur Hall Trickett-Weil, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude in absentia. Kennedy Victoria Valley. Bailey Carolyn Woldridge. Luella Sabine Warsham. Connie Xu Zhang, graduating with distinction. Nellie Amalo. We will now move to the natural sciences. Brett Christopher Adamo in absentia. Landon C. Anderson. Margaret Page Anderson. James Tucker Andrews, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Kirsten Elizabeth Baker, graduating with distinction. Emily Margaret Baldwin, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Jacob Paul Belding, in absentia. Finn Pleasance Burrelson, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Zakia O. Bird. Wendell Brandon Casey. In absentia. Madeline Grace Castater. Joseph Robert Koger, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude. Danielle Elizabeth Dilday, graduating with distinction, cum laude. David Andrew Dundee, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Layla Eshmail, graduating with distinction. Cassidy Favorite, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Thomas James Flisk. Emily G. Freeman. Reagan McCall Giberson, in absentia. Charles Antone Gingras, magna cum laude, in absentia. Kaylee Mercedes Gibson. Jacqueline Page Greenwell, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Jacob T. Handloser, in absentia. Alex H. Herringer, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude, in absentia. Blake Hinton, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Eric Matthew Haran, graduating with distinction. Jaden Elise Hunt. Ivy Jackson. Chandrea D. Jackson. Cassie O. Jenkins. Ire Juhan Jun. D'Amico Treshawn Johnson. Miles Lucas Johnson, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Madeline Ann Klinkerman, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude. Liesel B. Crone. Megan D. LaPlante. Jack Gordon Lester, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude. Erin Schuyler Lombardi, magna cum laude. Brooke Anna Lowry, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Kwaratalaine Majid. Anna Jester McCrite, graduating with distinction. Jack Harrison McWilliams, cum laude, in absentia. Yvonne Midhurst Hager, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude. Cameron J. Minor, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Cameron R. Malloy, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Karen E. Morris, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude, in absentia. Laura Frances Morton. Vaniza Mukhtar, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Nicholas Henry Nahas, graduating with distinction. Sundas Nezer. Cayman Neal. Zachary Austin Nelson. Kevin Wynn, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude, in absentia. Jacob Reed Nordine. Innocent Nasabiman, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. James Ward O'Day. John Alex Pablo Kaiser, cum laude. Brooks Ryan Parham. Rebecca L. Parham, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude. Krishna K. Patel, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Wade Wendell Pennington. Marini I. Pomakai. Eric D. Pinter, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude. David Alexei Pajunas, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Mackenzie Ray Presley, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Michael Ross Rickles. Alexis Prue Rivera, in absentia. Sarah M. Robinson. Mitchell L. Rotenberry, magna cum laude. Griffith E. Seymour. Sumira Sardar. Michaela Jane Strang. Brent Lewis Strunk, graduating with distinction. Xavier J. Thomas. Christy Boleen Tran, graduating with distinction. Isabella Marie Trevino, graduating with distinction. Kevin Matthew Trickey, graduating with distinction, cum laude in absentia. Hunter Roland Trussell, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Jailene J. Tufu. Kipchu K. Van Hoos. Allison M. Watanabe. Dawson West. Levi P. West, cum laude. Savannah Jo Weigel, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude. James Tristan Wiles, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude. Whitney J. Woods. We will now bring the graduates for social sciences. Mason T. Adams. Gifty A. Agana. Hannah Michal Berlin. Romay Lisa Ashley Blockland, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Ben Martin Brissette. Cody Deshawn Bryant. Michael Lane Birchfield, graduating with distinction. Natalie Brooke Burgess Carter, graduating with distinction. George Barton Burson, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Adonis Javante Jacoby Butler. Amy Cabrera. Aaliyah Stashay Kane, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Lacey Brianna Carpenter. Rachel Lily Chenault, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Haley B. Chun, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude. Robert Graham Cifelli. Stephen David Clark. Joshua Andrew Cole, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Mary Allison Cook. Michaela J. Delk, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Jasmine Marie Denny, graduating with distinction. Samantha Erin Doring. Christine M. Donachie. Alyssa Jordan Downing. Caitlin A. Gilliam. Victor R. Gomez. Cooper Benjamin Grimes, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Matthew M. Haley, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. James Tanner Hartsfield, in absentia. Kirsten A. Hawkins. Caitlin Schneider Hillier. Elijah L. Holcomb. Veronica H. Ibanez. Ian Allen Isaacson. Russell Curtis Jackson, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude. Abigail E. Jewell, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Connor Jeremiah Norton Johnson. Alyssa Raven Jones, graduating with distinction. Elizabeth Jones, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Levi Taylor Jones, graduating with distinction. James Kemp Kagi. Olivia Lorraine Kelly, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Evan S. King. Zoe Alexandra Kobriger, graduating with distinction. Rachel Grace Cook, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude. Bailey K. Lindsay, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude. Aaron Dean Little, in absentia. Katie Morela Love. Ra Loomis, summa cum laude. Max Connor Lynch. Mallory Magruder, graduating with distinction, in absentia. Lauren Ray Marshall, graduating with distinction, cum laude, in absentia. Jeanette Marie McGrath. Charles Norvell McMahon. Katie Lee McNamara, magna cum laude. John P. Medic, graduating with distinction. Carmen Meyer, cum laude, in absentia. Kavi Vipul Modi, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Ivy A. Monroe, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude. Abigail Louise Nathan, graduating with distinction, summa cum laude. Joshua Francis Newman, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Kristen Brooke North, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Maxwell Edward Parker. Derek Peltier. John Maxwell Phillips. Lauren Nicole Porter, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Miranda N. Pouncey, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Dana Shelby Pumphrey, graduating with distinction, cum laude. Olivia C. Reams, graduating with distinction, in absentia. Mary Margaret Reinhardt. Brock M. Rooney. Gerard Michael Rousseau, in absentia. Alyssa Michelle Savage. Braden Schaefer. Jackson Thomas Sims, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Jessica Lee Sipes. Trey George Smith, in absentia. Aaron M. Swallow. Olivia R. Stevens. Andrea R. Stitt, graduating with distinction. Madison A. Thomas. Madeline Jo Tovar. Maxime D. Fanut. Aubrey Mae Wasden, graduating with distinction, magna cum laude. Lydia C. Weidman, magna cum laude. Haley Lynn Wilder, graduating with distinction. Alayla Williams. Ginny R. Williams. Garrison Michael Winter. Benjamin Evan Zeidman, graduating with distinction. Try it again. This concludes the conferring of degrees. Please join me in congratulating all of the degree recipients. I'm going to ask everyone to stand and remain standing while the alma mater is played. While it is customary for us to sing the alma mater together, today we will listen without singing. At the end of the alma mater, please remain in place for the benediction and the recessional.
Hendrix College, we will love thee through the years to come, as we love thee now today, while our hearts are young. Kindly is thy spirit, always friendship and good cheer. Make thee Hendrix College to us alma mater dear.
May you know that you have a home at Hendrix wherever your journey may take you. Go forth now into this new day with friendship, with love, and with joy. Would you be seated for the benediction response, please?
For the recessional, I would ask that the platform party, the faculty, and the graduates stand when the recessional music begins, and recess as instructed by the college marshals. Audience members should remain seated until the last graduate leaves the area. You should then leave through one of the exits and meet your graduate in your prearranged location. Thank you.